Hi everybody, welcome to the CoronaSphere Lounge. I'm your host, Bill Whittle, coming to you from the plane of infinite despair. And today's episode is entitled A First Time for Everything. And the reason I'm calling this one A First Time for Everything, because since we've been locked down, at least here in California, which is, I think this is our 8th or ninth day or something, this is the first time that I forgot to do the show. And since I don't have an awful lot more to talk about than that, let me just pontificate on that thought for a moment or two. This may not be exactly the most data rich show, but you never know what you're going to get. There probably does need to be one thing said about this, and that is that I just genuinely forgot to do it today. I was hanging out at home and hanging out playing some computer games with friends of mine, and the next thing I know, it's late at night, and I realized, oh my God, I forgot to do the show. And the reason that that may have some significance at all only because I'm just wondering if two things. First of all, has this become enough of a new normal for it to be something that I just didn't notice for the first time, that I'm basically confined to my house? Today's the first time I wasn't aware of it. And today was also the first day I stopped just digging in the muse, because we don't have any real serious data changes right now. Nothing's really breaking. We're just kind of stuck. We don't know to the degree that the social distancing will work or has worked. We know it's done some good. Cases are constantly increasing. Sniping is returning to politics again. And I just stayed away from it today. But it stayed away from me too. I just plain forgot that that I was basically, at least voluntarily anyway, confined to my house. So that's one thought. And the second thought is probably considerably more important. And that's simply this. If this is it, if this is as bad as it gets, this home quarantine and worrying about jobs and things, if this is the worst thing that happens to us in our lives, think about that really. I mean, that bears remembering. We're at the danger point where I mentioned in the last show. The most dangerous news is the kind that you really want to hear. And we're at a danger point now where we've been, at least for those of us who were started this self-quarantine thing early in terms of what the state asked us to do. The the danger point now is everybody's kind of bored. Everybody's kind of over it. Nobody sees anything outside. This is the panic fatigue that I was talking about. We hear stories from the hospital, but no one's seeing anything really in terms of their day-to-day existence. And so it's tempting to think, well, what's really going on here? What's the point of all of this? But I guess what I'm trying to say is, for people who've endured civil war, people who lived through Stalingrad, people who lived through the flu pandemic of 100 years ago, and all of the rest of the crises and catastrophes that the human race has experienced. If this is the worst thing that happens to America in my lifetime, then that's alone is a real miracle. I was asked to stay inside my, you know, my house and watch TV and play games on the internet. That was my war story. Yeah, it was crazy days, son. We all struggled somehow to get through. I just thought I would share that with you because it probably needs to be said. Everybody's frustrated. Everybody wants to go back to work. Everybody wants to know some answers. Everybody wants something. But the fact is, if this is as bad as it gets for us, for Americans, as a society, I'm not talking about the individuals who may come down with this, then what an incredible job have we done. And for the first time in human history, too, a major global pandemic. The last one was, real one, was 100 years ago, the flu pandemic. This is the first time we understand one. And so if you think it's scary now, and if you think it's frightening now, just try to put yourself in the place of people 100 years ago who still didn't know why these things were caused. They didn't know. Some leading edge scientists in 1920 knew about viruses and had a faint idea of what they were, but there was no science running to the rescue then, and there was no ability to talk amongst each other like this. Being locked in your house meant being locked in your house, And I don't know if any of you've ever had cabin fever. I did. I just stayed in my apartment my first year in college during the summer break, and I didn't talk to anybody, and I stayed in that apartment 18 hours a day, and I thought I was going to lose my mind. So anyway, just a little word of gratitude, I suppose. If this is as bad as it gets, we got off very lucky. I will be back on schedule tomorrow. I don't think I'm likely to make this mistake twice, but again, if if this is the great crisis of our age and I forgot to do a show on it, then humans can adapt to anything, and we're certainly adapting to this, and we'll see what happens when all the adapting is done and we go back to what we're doing before. So if everybody's being careful out there, and I promise you'll have more newsy type stuff tomorrow. So until then, we'll see you right here on the CoronaSphere Lounge, made possible by the paying members at BillWhittle.com who've kept these messages coming through thick and thin. We've had a lot of new members in lately. It's meant an enormous amount to us, especially the longtime support of our members who've been here from the beginning. So thank you again for everything, and we'll be back with more show and tell tomorrow. So until then, take care, be careful, and I'm Bill Whittle. We'll see you then.